Well, I was scared all the time, but I also had great certainty that I was doing the right thing. I was not prepared for my path to intersect with a vampire, but then I became a vampire slayer. And I feel very good about that. But in the months leading up to my coming forward, I did as much as I could with the help of my friends and lawyers and a domestic violence expert to prepare for my physical and personal safety, because I was dealing with the top law enforcement officer in New York State. And if he were still in power, he could destroy me. So I made plans to leave the country, which I did. And being visible was very hard for me for a long time. Being visible now is hard, but I am committed to making kindness and peace more exciting than violence, and also exposing intimate violence in committed relationships.
And I wonder if you can talk about conversations you had with friends and with allies that were positive and constructive for you, because I'm sure a lot of people watching, know somebody, given the statistics, we all must know somebody or many somebodies who are in dangerous situations. And I think having, a window into how one handles that in a helpful way could be really useful for folks to hear.
Well, understanding that a friend or loved one in an abusive relationship might not be able to talk about it. My advice to the person who is that friend is to be patient, be a good listener, not be judgmental, and ask questions that might elicit answers. And Melissa can talk more about ways to heal. I can talk about how I have been healing in case it's helpful. It's very important to, in addition to the counseling, I meditate. I do taming anxiety meditations through different apps, and apps are fun ways to engage in the healing. 10% Happier, Calm, Headspace. Those might be great resources for your 20-year-old. And also making sure that that you surround her with love and affirmation that she is not to blame for what happened to her, that she is not alone, she's not crazy, she is one of many, and that she can go from being a victim to a survivor to a thriver. People talk about compartmentalizing. Like, you look at the Tina Turner documentary and how she was beaten up by Ike Turner at home, and then she would go on and perform with such ferocity, ferociousness, and she was just so on fire. And it's not compartmentalizing. I call it professionalism.
Yeah.
Like, I had to show up to work, I had to make a living. So I'm very grateful for all that. And so that helps me move past the disappointment I feel about the many women, not just the victims, but the people around Eric who knew about his abusive behavior, who could have warned me.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them thought that he would be different with me because of who I am, that I've been throughout my career an advocate for the rights and safety of women and children. But those patterns don't stop unless you force them to stop.
And so I'm wondering also about the political implications of your stepping forward based on who Eric Snyderman was to the state of New York.
There were many people whom I had confided in and was seeking advice when I was deciding whether to come forward, who tried to dissuade me from doing so because they felt that Eric was doing important work and that we needed him. But the chorus of people who were telling me that I knew what I had to do were much stronger and much more rational. So I listened to them. And also I had confidence that no matter what great work he was doing, a man who championed women publicly but abused them privately should not be the Attorney General of the state of New York.
Which has happened today. So tell us about that.
So the big news today, and I'm feeling a little kind of overwhelmed because less than 3 hours ago, I received word that a case against Eric Schneiderman, the former Attorney General of New York State, the one who abused me, the case had been concluded. And it is breaking in the news right now that he has been suspended. His law license has been suspended, and he has to undergo monitored mental health counseling for his abusive behavior and also his alcoholism. So that is a huge step towards accountability. There has been so much discussion about how, while we might not achieve true justice, at least we can have accountability. And I feel like that happened today because these micro details are what help people understand the many layers of abuse, the many forms that it takes. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it's verbal, it is digital, it is legal, it is financial. There are so many forms of abuse, and by talking about it, we can begin to unpack and unravel it and address it.
Is Denim Day. And the reason it's called Denim Day and they ask people to wear denim is because a few decades ago in Italy, an 18-year-old girl was raped by her driving instructor. And the rape conviction was overturned because the courts decided that because she was wearing tight denim, there was no way that her rapist could have forcibly gotten the clothes off of her.
That is, yeah. Every time I hear things like that, it just makes me realize how much our systems and our laws does very little to protect women. Because if I am reporting that I just got raped and the first thing you say is, that doesn't make sense though, you were wearing jeans.
It's terrible.
It's terrible, but I'm hoping next week to see women wearing their denims and just standing loud and proud in support of women, just speaking out against violence.
Of women throughout my entire career. But I also feel that by writing the book and by having come forward, I help shift the perception of what a victim looks like, and also to really empower other people to tell their stories, because I've had such an outpouring of people sharing their own stories of intimate violence, women and men. You know, when you know the statistics that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men will experience intimate partner violence in their lifetimes, millions of them before they turn the age of 18, I feel like we have so much work to do, this collective project, because there is a direct line between patriarchy and violence, and we have to dismantle it.